Hello, friends. Came back to do a quick follow-up on my initial video I did about autism and autism numbers. I'm actually in the back of the ER right now. I'm supposed to be getting my charts done, so don't tell anybody. I'll get them done, no worries. Um, anyway, I just wanted to. I told y'all that I would follow up on the autism numbers that I was talking to you about before, because if you hear in the news that there's an explosion or an epidemic of autism now, and that there has to be an environmental reason for this, um, I just think that those numbers are either misinformation, people that are spreading information that they think is true that it isn't, or it's disinformation. They know it's not true, but they're spreading it anyway. And the reason I want to point this out is because with autism actually, to make the case, there were 0 cases of autism before the 1911. Does that mean after 1911 all of a sudden autism showed up? No, it's because it wasn't defined until 1911, and really it wasn't even clearly defined until the 40s. So it making definitions doesn't mean that cases are more common. So the problem with that is that as the definition for autism changes and it broadens and it takes in a lot more people, then you can't compare it to old numbers. For example, I saw a video of RFK Jr., which I think he's doing a lot of good things, especially for food additives in our country. Um, but he made a statement about autism, saying there's an epidemic of autism, and he thinks it's an environmental issue. I can't tell you that there is or there isn't an epidemic, because there's no way of knowing based on the numbers that we have access to. And it becomes obvious when he talks about people with autism are people who are never going to get married, they're never going to have a job, they're never going to be able to play baseball. He makes comments like that. It's because in his mind, he's still thinking of autism in the old definition of autism, which was, many years ago, autism was reserved for those that were nearly devastated. They were so affected that a lot of them were institutionalized. But now the term autism has been broadened to include everybody with even Asperger's syndrome or just social awkwardness. And these broad definitions expand the numbers of people who are diagnosed with autism significantly. Not to mention the fact that now with the internet, there is a lot more awareness because people are communicating with each other more in groups where they now are seeking a diagnosis, because that diagnosis helps them get special provisions in school or work and such. So I just wanted to make the case that when you hear somebody talk about the epidemic of the autism explosion or whatever, just remember those numbers aren't real. And anyone who's talking about it like that either doesn't understand, or they do understand and they're trying to misrepresent something, because there is no way that we can, with the current numbers, make any statement about if autism is getting more common or less common. The definition with the broadening certainly includes more people, but it doesn't mean that people are getting worse. There's a lot of people with autism who are on the spectrum, who are married, some have college educations, they are athletes, they can do all kinds of things. So what RFK Jr. is thinking about in his mind is not what the numbers are representing in today's world. I hope that helps just a little bit to put a little perspective on this whole idea of the epidemic of autism. Until next time, I'm Dr. Joe Kraft, and this is the Medical Minute. Now I got to get back to my charts.